Hey guys, welcome back to How's It Doing Garage. So today we're gonna be working on some fabrication type stuff. So obviously, I've just started my channel here not too long ago. I've got a few projects already in the works in the shop, so some of the stuff's already underway. So we can't really do from the beginning and all that, but I wanted to show you guys some of the projects we are working on. So one of the projects I'm working on is a good friend of ours, four-door OBS Tahoe. What we're doing is we're actually going to stock floor body drop this truck on some 22-inch US mags. So I've got the interior and everything stripped out of it. I'll give you a little little synopsis of what we got going on, but I've got the interior stripped out of it, and we're getting ready to cut the floor out for the new frame to go in there. I've got most of the new chassis done. We've still got some fab work to do on it. I got to do a fuel cell mount the compressors in the tank and stuff like that. But and then put the engine and stuff back in it. But for the wheels we're going to be running, which I'll show you the wheels, we have to narrow the rear end 1 3/4 on each side. So that's what I'm going to do today. So these are his wheels, just some US Mag Desperados, nothing super crazy, but the rear does have a little bit of offset, so, or I should say lacking offset, less offset, but so it's got a little lip. It's going to look pretty good under there. The color of the wheels, it should look pretty good. So what we're going to do today, and I'll show you the frame, is we're going to take the axle out of the frame and narrow it 1 3/4 on each side, and then put this all back together, and then cut the floor on the Tahoe, and hopefully get the two pieces squished together today. So, because we've got a little barbecue taco thing we're doing this weekend, so with some friends and stuff. So I kind of wanted to have it all put together. My buddy doesn't know that we've even been working on it, so he's coming over this weekend. I figured it'd be kind of cool if he showed up and it was all, one piece-ish. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to work on getting my frame table drug out, get the axle out, get it on my fab table so we can start measuring and cutting and everything. And I'll walk you through the steps on how we do that. So yeah, so let's get after it. Hey guys, so I got the rear end out and it's on the table now. So I've narrowed a few rear ends in my day, and anytime I have to do any kind of like fabrication to the rear end, I like to do all of my fabrication first, weld all my tabs on, do all that stuff, and then I narrow the rear end. Because once you put your jig in the rear end and you get it all lined up, and then you get your ends welded on, and then you start welding stuff to the tubes, you're just going to warp the tubes up, and they're not going to be aligned, and then you're going to have noise issues or wheel bearing issues or whatever. So I'll weld up all my tabs and everything on the rear end, and then go through and cut out what I need to cut out and narrow the rear end. So that's actually what I'm going to do now. I have these tabs and stuff on here. I'm going to weld these up, and then let that cool down. I'll strip the axle out, get all the pieces out of it, get all the old axles out of it and all that, and then narrow it. So I'm going to let this drain some of this fluid out, go get some lunch, and then come back, weld all this stuff up, let it cool, and then disassemble the whole rear end, and then start measuring for where I need to cut it, and and what have you. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Alright, so I've got this all welded up, and while it's cooling down, I'm going to disassemble it. So this isn't like normally this isn't like a normally cut. So this isn't like a high horsepower application here. So this is just going back in a freaking TBI 350 truck. So it's not, you know, doing hole shots on drag strip. So what we're gonna do is just section out a little piece, you know, out of the tube. We'll come out as far as we can and section this piece out, you know, 1 3/4 out of here. You know, weld it back up. You know, we'll do a nice TIG weld on there or whatever. But yeah, so like if you had like a high horsepower rig or something like that, you would probably do something different. But this is just like a little everyday driver thing. So, but you do have to remove the center section here, your you know, your pinion and all that. Take this little bolt out, take the center pin out, blah blah blah, disassembly. Make sure you keep these left and right, you know, separate, so you don't screw it up. I'll come in here with a little punch and just punch one cap just to make sure that I keep it correct, and then I put them in separate bags, you know, blah blah blah. So while this is cooling down, I'm gonna get it all disassembled and get it ready to work. Problemo. So I've got the axle tore apart. Like this, as you can see, is like a normal, like inside of a drum. It's pretty simple. Looks like somebody's pried on this a little bit here and there, but this is pretty normal. Seal was in good shape. You can tell it's not leaking everywhere or whatever. A little dusty, you know, what have you. Pretty normal. But it's the second time I've seen this. Obviously, I mean, you could tell on the table it was leaking fluid out of it. But this is soaked. This has got gear oil all over everything. And this is the second time I've seen this. It looks like this might have spun a bearing out of it at one point in time, and someone had done this repair. This is the second time I've seen this. The other one, the first time I seen it was on a Suburban, actually. So I've never done this repair, but obviously something has gone awry here. So it's leaking, you know, diff fluid out of it. But so we have to pull that out anyway, but that's kind of weird. But another thing I've noticed is when I took the pan apart, I knew we were going to have some kind of bearing issue, because look at the magnet. I mean, it's just, that's not good. Like if you see something like that, that's not just normal wear on the magnet. There's something somewhere that's coming from togetherness. So when I tore it apart, I was looking at this race, and as you can see, which you see these divots in this race on the bearing. You know what that is that material is getting stuck in the bearing, and the bearing is just bashing it into this race. So normally when you have a race that's that bad, you have a bearing that looks the same. So this is the bearing, like you can see it with all these little divots on it, you know. That is actual material like getting compacted into these rollers. And I mean, look how loose this bearing is. I mean, this bearing is toast. Like you can almost pull the cage off of it. It's so just blown out. So this needs to be replaced. So what we'll probably do is we'll make a note, and we're gonna rebuild the whole rear end. We'll put all new bearings in it. This thing's got a part number on it, this little repair, so I'll figure out what that is, get a new seal for that, check the bearing. It feels pretty good, you know. Check your bearing on the other side, just make sure that there's no, this one feels pretty good too. There's no excessive bumpage, there's no ridiculous play in it. So this feels pretty okay. And then every time I do one of these, I do a lot of these for guys that are just trying to run big lips on static drop trucks. I put new seals in it anyway. Like I don't even ask them if they want to pay for them. I just do it. So that way when they, because you know, I put them back together for them when they come and pick it up and put fluid in it and stuff and puking out or whatever, you know. It's like $20. It's already a part, put the seal in it. So that's what I do. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that, you know, sometimes, man, that's super wicked. I never seen a bearing that bad. I mean, look at that. Super wicked. Sometimes it ain't all cut and dry. Sometimes stuff goes upside down in a hurry. So we're gonna make a note of this, get some parts coming to fix it or whatever. I'm still gonna narrow the axle. It's not beyond repair, so there's no reason to, you know, junk it. But I'm gonna continue, get all this brake stuff pulled off, and get our jig put in there. All right, dudes. So we got this junk all tore apart. So I was gonna show you this real quick. So I have the Mittler Brothers alignment jig, but when I ordered it, I ordered all of the attachments they sold, but for some reason it didn't come with the sleeves for the 10 bolts. I don't know if they changed the design somewhere or whatever, so I had to make these. So these are my own shits, or stuffs, my own stuffs. Anyway, so what I do is, so I come from like the millwright world, so you know, we do a lot of pipe fab in the millwright world. So I'm used to doing pipe wraps, right? So anybody's worked around construction long enough knows what a pipe wrap is. So I make my own pipe wraps when I narrow rear end. So if I'm doing like 2 inch, 1.5 inches, 3, whatever, I'll go, I have some, they're like slip sheets. I have a buddy of mine who works in a warehouse, gives me these slip sheets, and they're really thick, durable, like poster board, and I'll cut them into a pipe wrap, and then I'll just save them as like a template. So like this one here, we cut it to the width we needed, and then I wrapped it all around here, and what I'll do is I'll just mark it on both sides and then take it off and then cut inside the lines, and then you'll have, you know, you'll remove your perfect amount of material that you need. So, you know, I come in, let me go on the other side so you can see this, but this axle has quite a bit of corrosion in this area, so that's where I'm going to be cutting it out. I'm just going to cut out this center and get rid of this corrosion right here. This, I mean, there's still going to be a little here, but it's not that bad. But this side underneath this wrap, it's pretty pitted, so we're going to cut it all out, and then when we weld it back together, it won't be near as bad. So it'll save the hassle of filling in all that pitting. But I'm gonna get this cut, put my jig together in there, and then weld it all up, you know, show you guys what that's like. But we'll be back. Hey guys, so I've got the rear end all cut, and I've got my tube slid in there. Comes in through here. It's got these little pucks in here. So you'll notice that we've got a little high-low condition here. So this tube is a little bit above this one. So what happened was, when you put all this heat on here to weld it, it bent the tube a little bit, okay? So, you know, you could just weld this up in your bearing, it would be aligned. It would look like total hell. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to straighten out an axle. It does require a torch. You need an oxyacetylene torch, and what we're going to do is we're going to come in here opposite of where you put the heat. So like we put the heat down here where we welded, so we're going to have to come up here and put some heat on this tube, and what I'll do is work the tube back up. So I'm going to do that right now. Be right back. Okay, well, change of plans. My welding supply guy got me good. Brought me an empty bottle of oxygen for my torch this morning. So I don't have my torch. So yeah. So we're trying to get this truck put together for this little shindig we're having this weekend. So I I need to put it under the truck so we can put the truck together like today. So I don't have time to go get another bottle of oxygen right now, plus it's after hours. So what I'm gonna have to do is just basically tack this together for now so it'll hold enough to where I can put it back under the truck and at least lay the truck out, and then tear it back out later and redo it, thanks to my welding supply guy. But I guess I'm just gonna do that. Hey guys, so I've got my oxygen bottle filled finally for my torches, so we're gonna straighten out this axle tube. I'm gonna fire this thing up. It's gonna be pretty loud, so yeah. Now we just let it cool down and see if it, comes back up. If it doesn't come up far enough, we put a little more heat on it, and then it'll move a little more, So now we just wait. So we got the axle heated up. Darren's standing in the background. So it's straightened out. It probably could go a little more, but I don't want to overdo it, so we're gonna call it good. It's pretty good now. I'm gonna get it tacked together and weld it up. Usually TIG weld all my axle tubes back together, make it super strong. But yeah, so we heated it up here, and then it bent the axle up, so it's pretty straight now. So we've got the flanges back aligned where they're supposed to be, and I'm gonna go TIGging this thing back together. So hold on a minute. Ta-da!
You're gonna touch that one?
That's not as high, it's okay.
So we're just gonna temporarily put this rear end back together for now, and then we're gonna put it back under the vehicle. And when we get all finished with the frame and all that for the vehicle, we'll pull the axle back out. Like I said earlier, it needs a repair on one of these bearings, so we'll order a rebuild kit for the rear end, and we'll flush the rear end, and then put new bearings and stuff like that, rebuild the center section and new seals and everything. So this is just like a temporary reassembly for now. I mean, if Mosier wants to pay me, I'll put the stickers on for him, but otherwise, no.
Look at that, it fits.
Pull down a little bit. Alright. A little more.
Out.
Pull it out. Yeah. Alright guys, we got the rear end all put back together. It's looking pretty premium, if I say so myself. So, we'll put it back under the truck probably tomorrow. But that's going to do it for this video on how to narrow rear end. Yeah, it's pretty simple. If you got the right tools, it's pretty easy. I was scared to do the first one I ever did, and then after I've done a few of them, now it's kind of like, meh, whatever. But yeah, it's not very hard, and it's pretty easy. But yeah, so if you got any questions about narrowing rear ends or any, that kind of stuff for your project or whatever, throw them down in the comments. We appreciate you guys watching the videos, and we'll catch you on the next video. See you later.